Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. For anyone that doesn't know me, my name's Chris Iveson, and I'm founder and CEO here at FourJaw. I'm joined by two of my amazing colleagues. To my right, we've got Oliver. He's our head of business development,
Morning, everyone.
and his role is to obviously make sure that FourJaw gets into as many manufacturers' hands as possible. And then to my left, we've got Steph Ashmore. She's our head of product, and her job is to work with our customers and work internally to help us craft and develop the product roadmap, and which is very much core to what today is all about. So this is genuinely live, and we're not podcasters. So if we cock it up, then we apologise up front. But yeah, any questions? Then obviously we've got the YouTube chat functionality, and do feel free to pop any questions in, and we'll be picking them up intermittently as we go through the session. So we've got some really awesome stuff to take you through today. Both in terms of what we've released over the past sort of 6 months, the first half of this year. Can't believe it's summer already. And we've also got a sneak peek as to what's coming in the summer release. Before we get the product updates, I just wanted to start with a quick sort of perspective on what we're seeing going on within the manufacturing industry as a whole. I think it's really important context because, we obviously speak to customers all over the place, and, we try and build FourJaw in such a way that that really sort of helps benefit the majority of our customers. And so that context is quite important. And one of the things I love about running FourJaw is the variety of our customers. That we've got customers from construction. They make construction products, windows and doors. We've got customers that make aerospace components, customers that make motorsports parts,
Peanut butter.
I would say, importantly, chocolate.
chocolate bars,
Chocolate, yeah.
all sorts of precision engineering, and loads more different types of customers that make all sorts of different things. And so we get a really good cross-sectional view of what's going on in the manufacturing industry. And sometimes it's good to just kind of understand what we're seeing, and hopefully you guys will recognise these themes. So the first one is that across the board, almost, manufacturers' margins are constantly squeezing, and that's been driven by various things. So the first one is that the UK continues to have some of the highest industrial energy prices on the planet, for reasons that are way beyond me. But we've got examples of one customer the other day. What did they say?
Yeah, they were telling us a story about that they're not so long ago their electricity bill was £1 million a year, and it's now at 3, approaching going up. Reckon it's going to go to 3.5. It's ludicrous when you think about it like that. But it's it's these pressures we're hearing all the time. We've not long since after FourJaw started, I suppose this started ramping up on the electricity front, and it's everything that needs to be taken into account when you're running a manufacturer, right? People feel it.
And then moving on to the second key one, employment costs have gone up. Minimum wage, national insurance, both have increased, and that doesn't just impact your kind of lowest earners in your business. That filters right through the salary bands. So that puts more pressure on. And then the third major one really is that the skills gap. Since it's probably happening all the way up to COVID, but certainly since COVID, with lots of experienced workers are now retiring, and trying to get them replaced with new talent entering the industry is really a challenge. And so then overlay on top of those challenges, there's all sorts of uncertainty going on in the world. So we see lots of concerns around tariffs. Who knows what Trump's going to do next? And global trade disruption that's caused by the tariffs. Obviously, we've got a few wars going on now. But with this uncertainty, there's all sorts of opportunities that the right sort of manufacturers can sort of take advantage of. So there's a lot of caution out there, but actually there's lots of manufacturers that are really busy as well. So aerospace and defense manufacturers, for example, absolutely flying. And the reality is that most of these things sort of happen to you. Yeah, you can't really control these things, but you can control how you respond to them. And the manufacturers that succeed over the next sort of 10 years are not the ones that are the biggest today. They're the ones that respond and adapt to the world that is changing around them. So they're the ones that, and there's one consistent thing that will always be a constant, and that's the manufacturers that are the most productive are going to be the ones that can battle these challenges the best.
Well, we've seen that in some examples, haven't we? We saw that with when if we look across all of our customers, one of the largest downtimes we see is is probably the shortage of people to actually do the jobs. You know,
Mm.
it's the wrong number of people on the across the factory, across the machines. And we see people changing on that, don't we? We see people, you know, using our data and other bits of data in their business to understand, you know, this is costing us, and them being able to make decisions based on that to put their business in a stronger position is exactly what we need to see. And it's a bit of what you're talking about, isn't it? It's, you know, that's the things you can control if you know it's a good decision to make. If you know it's going to move the needle in the right direction, which is amazing to see when people actually act on the data.
Yeah, I think I was just going to pick up on two kind of keywords that we've said there, like visibility, like you were saying, having awareness that these things are a problem, but then being able to act on them. And I think that action and that execution of it is
there's
key to
no
where
good just knowing the hole is there.
You've got to actually do something with that.
Be able to fix it.
And that's sort of what today's about. So you know, productivity is always going to be a constant. Pressures are always going to be there. If you can get more productive, you can battle all of those pressures. And that's very much where we as FourJaw come in. So over the last few years, you know, we've been building FourJaw to become world class at helping manufacturers to understand what's happening on their factory floor. You know, we measure machine productivity, we measure the energy consumption of all of your machines, and we provide real-time dashboards. And a lot of what we've built has been all about, certainly more recently, has been all about getting the right information into the right people's hands at the right time. You know, configurable dashboards, emailed whenever you want, you know, on a schedule, so that, you know, everyone within your factory can be analyzing the data and then making decisions off that data. But today we're taking the next step, because we want to be moving from visibility to velocity. Yeah.
Come up with that yourself.
No, our marketing team came up with that. So visibility is really powerful. You know, you get the right dashboards, you make the right decisions, you make some changes. You know, that can be really, really powerful. And, you know, our marketing team, who sat just over there, hi guys, they're constantly building case studies with our customers, you know, that hopefully inspire other customers to get the best out of FourJaw. But visibility alone doesn't deliver parts. You know, you guys have to do a lot to get to parts delivery. And so what matters is how quickly you kind of respond to that visibility, you know, how quickly you can respond to the changes. And so we're now building FourJaw to move from visibility into velocity. And our focus is on helping our customers deliver more of whatever it is that they make on time.
I think that's really interesting, actually, because, you know, it's important for manufacturers to be responding quickly. And that's kind of what we're doing with the new release versions, right? Is 100%. Responding quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that sort of sets the scene. I also just wanted to quickly touch on that we are evolving how we deliver what we do. So if anyone that was at the last webinar that we did, which I don't even know when that was, a few months ago now, we sort of talked about how we are every 2 weeks incrementally delivering features. So every 2 weeks we push updates to our platform. It's a bit like your Tesla car. You know, it's always getting better. And what we're also doing now over the top of that is every quarter we want to be delivering something really meaningful that our customers can get excited about. Yeah, and that's very much what this is about. This is about the summer release. So yeah, we want every season. You know, we're gonna have spring, summer, autumn, winter seasons. We want every season to be delivering something truly exciting and valuable, you know, for all of our customers. So with that in mind, let's get started. What we've done is we've split today's webinar into 2 key sections. The first one is with Oliver, and he's going to talk about the first half of this year, what we've delivered, you know, the key features that we've delivered for our customers, because lots of customers are using it. Some customers might not be using them yet, and hopefully, you know, you kind of look at them and go, great, you know, let's adopt them. And also, we've got people who aren't yet customers on the webinar as well. So hopefully, you get to see what's recently come. And then we're going to move into the second step, which is Steph, who's going to be taking everyone through the key bits and pieces that are coming in the summer release, which are coming obviously very soon. So you know, with that in mind, let's crack on. Oliver, over to you.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Chris.
Spring into spring.
yeah, absolutely.
Spring into summer.
Spring into summer.
Spring into summer.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Chris. I think it's important to understand, you know, that bigger picture of where our manufacturers are when we think back to what we've built first half of this year. You know, it's all those pressures that built up there that we have seen building for a long time, and then, you know, Steph probably towards the end of last year sort of went into visit a lot of customers, speak with a lot of customers, and really work out, okay, well, what's gonna move their needle, and what can we build in this first half of the year?
Yeah, it definitely came to the surface last year where we were doing, I'm sure there's people on the webinar who were maybe part of our operator engagement research, where we were really trying to understand the pains of the shop floor, where people are really struggling to get their work orders out or get their jobs out, and where people are really struggling. And everything that you're seeing in the spring release and the summer release has really been built off of the back of that feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And really when we think about that, it's that, visibility is great, it's valuable, but, visibility on its own it's not enough. Obviously, customers need a bit more, as we've just been saying there. They need to be able to act on things. So then your mind goes to, the output. How accurate is this data? Are we really seeing what we're getting out of our machines? Is a good way of how I like to think about it. And really that's split into the two main sections that we want to talk about here. And that is, one half is planning. And we mean by that, the shift planning, when you expect your machines to be running, which I'll go through first. And then the second part of that is manual part count. So, we'll explain why we sort of went down that road and what the customers were telling us to sort of get us there. What's really exciting about that one is that's, one of the big things that we're keeping on building with, and a bit of where Steph's conversation just after this is going to go to.
I think the big focus really for everyone is to think about it from an operational perspective, rather than data and analysis and continuous improvement. We still do all of that. That's still very much FourJaw, but we're very much trying to help in the operational and the execution space with the upcoming releases.
Yeah, of course. So the first section of this then is production planning. As we say, it's a bit of shift management. For those customers on here, you'll know that we've had shifts essentially from the very beginning of FourJaw. We've had the ability to be able to manage your shifts, and essentially what we were seeing is, manufacturers in general have a lot of variability in there.
It's a changing world.
In the way they work.
Every day is different.
Yeah. Sometimes you're not going to be running a certain machine. Sometimes you may run one and you didn't plan to. There's Christmas, there's bank holidays, there's weekends going on, of course. And I think what people were wanting was a lot of flexibility there in that shift management. It's really important because we're looking at how much the machines are running over the period at which you plan to run them. So that is really coming from that shift management at this point within FourJaw.
Because really what we want to do is we want to make sure that when you're looking at a FourJaw dashboard, you're only looking at when your machine was supposed to be running.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the more accurate we make that, the more trust the system has, the more...
It's all about that confidence.
Yeah, the more confidence in the decisions you're making. Yeah.
And hopefully, you'll see when Oliver shows you in a second that the interface is much easier to use. So you can do those changes on the fly. So if you've got a day shift that's running over because you've asked someone to stay to finish that work order, you can very quickly and easily adjust that. So then your data stays accurate.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to be putting on an overtime shift at the weekend, it doesn't have to be cumbersome to get the data that you need out of FourJaw.
It needs to be seconds, doesn't it? Yeah. So if I just share my screen now, Chris, thank you very much.
Told you we're live.
So hopefully you guys can see my screen here, and what we're showing you is this new calendar based approach that we've got. I'm sure probably everyone watching this uses, calendars in Gmail and Outlook. Works in a very similar way. You've got this calendar view of all your machines, and you can see laid in there your shifts that you're running. And now what we have the ability to do is click on single instances, and we might want to delete, things that are in here. We might want to change something from this point forward and get rid of all of them. The same goes for editing them. So it's super, super easy now to simply go in and say, this shift is changing slightly on this machine over the, from this point forward or up to a certain date. And you can go ahead and do that. And I think it's just, as Steph says, it's now just a few clicks away to be able to change something that completely controls the core data within FourJaw and what you're looking at. Yeah. Again, what percentage of the time we plan to run are we running for? And I think, that being accurate as it is now is a really advantageous thing.
Yeah, and any kind of core users of FourJaw will know that we have that not on shift downtime. And what we want to do is make sure we're surfacing the correct downtimes to people by making sure you are on shift when you're supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And what it's meant is we've been able to already. I know this has not been released too long, but we've been already able to build on this. So of course that data has been pulled through to the reports, or the widgets on the dashboard, should I say? And what you can do here is, directly compare shifts now. Again, this was one of the needs that we heard quite strongly from our customers. I really want to be able to compare my weekend shift to my weekday shift, or my day to my night shift, or maybe pick up on overtime specifically. And I think it's been brilliant to see people immediately build on the custom dashboards that we went through last webinar, for those that were on that, being able to, see how quickly people can do things like compare shifts against one another is brilliant.
I just think it really does tie back to what Chris was saying at the beginning. You can't fix a problem if you can't see when it is, when it's happening. You need to be able to see, okay, I'm losing X amount of time, but is that on the night shift? Is it on the overtime shifts?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know, you can't resolve those problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, where we move to from here is, I think once we saw people sort of agreeing that this was improving their confidence, their accuracy, we had that more accurate baseline in there. The next obvious question kind of leans towards output. And that's where this next topic comes in, which is manual part count.
Yeah.
And what we were seeing here was, a lot of our customers, some were using what we had already in our work order side of FourJaw. So for those that don't know, you do have the ability to import work orders into FourJaw. That's been around for quite a while now. I don't know how long that's been around, maybe a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're doing a big relaunch.
Yeah,
we'll come into that.
Yeah. Really exciting things coming on that. But what we've seen happen is, people wanting to start tracking what they're working on, and an extension of that, of course, is how many good and bad parts are being made there. And what we were hearing from our customers directly was that there's a lot of ways that is done, and it is manual on a lot of machines, not on all machines, but on many of them. And there was things written down on whiteboards. They were scraps of notes written down, the big numbers written on walls, WhatsApp messages sent with, with quantities in. And we thought, what, we've got the user interface there, the tablet's right next to the machines. Can we help customers here? Can we provide that to the people on the ground, the operators on the machines? Can we give them a way to automatically upload how many parts they've made?
Yeah.
And that's really where we went to with the manual part count. So as you can see on the screen here, just to show you what it looks like quickly, this is what you would see next to the machine. So a lot of you will recognize what you're looking at here. It's the operator view that you see on the tablets. And what you can see is this section here that's a production quantity count. And what's actually happening is it's pulling, in this case, it's pulling in from the work order that this machine's currently running. We can see that work order here, and what we can do is add a good and scrap count to that. So of course, not using a mouse like me, the users would be using their tablet and touching this screen, but they can really quickly go in and say, I've made an extra 10 units, or I've made 40 in total now. And it's super easy for them to do that. And that information is all being, taken up to the production quantity report. So rather than, like one of our aggregates customers that we had, rather than having to rely on the operators to WhatsApp, 10 more units have been made, and then collate them on the other side, all of a sudden, they're seeing a constantly live, refreshed version of exactly what's been made, good and bad part count from which machine.
And I think, this was just such an outstanding friction point when we were doing the big operator engagement research last year. Just the amount of team leaders who would have to interrupt their day to run down onto the shop floor to find out what was going on.
Yeah.
And whilst, like you said, we've always had work booking in FourJaw, it's one thing to have visibility of what happened after you finished your job. It's another thing to see what's happening during, to be able to see whether you're on track, see whether that machine's gone down, like we already do with the dashboards, but then see, well, have I created the amount of parts that I should have created by now? So that we can get on that, get it fixed, and get down onto the shop floor to resolve any issues before delays happen.
Yeah, we get that a lot, don't we? Where, yes, we can see the downtime now, but of course, there's of course, there's speed changes. You know, there's rate changes. You know, we're supposed to make 10 an hour. Why are we only making 8 an hour? That ability to now, you know, constantly, you know, where you can constantly feed back in. There's this many being made at this cadence. It allows people to see that change and address it there and then.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go and ask someone for the data to know. I think most of the situations we see people that are collecting manual part counts, it's done at the end of the day. So it's a one-off at the end of the day.
It also helps you answer that question of, have we even had a good day today?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so not only can you see the downtimes there, you can see those rate changes. And I think it's just super important. And yeah, what's nice is it does really, you know, pass on nicely, I suppose, to what Steph's going to speak about, which again I know is the title of this. You know, that summer release. I think there's some super exciting things that we're really building on here on top of this sort of count in mind.
Yeah, sure.
Features. So yeah, it's probably a good point to.
Well, just quickly. So everything that Oliver's shown so far, in terms of, you know, the production planning and the manual part count, that's all available to you guys today.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you guys aren't currently using it but you want to, then feel free to have a click around and explore it. Obviously, have a look through our knowledge base as well, or get in touch with support@fourjaw.com or your customer success manager directly. And they will very much be, you know, they'd love to take you through how you guys can get set up on any of those features. So all that's here today. Now, everything we speak about from this point forwards is coming in the summer release. So yeah.
I feel like that's forever my job, is being the it's coming soon.
You're always in the future.
I'm always the it's coming soon person.
It's an exciting place to be, the future, isn't it? Especially when you get to build it.
Yeah. It's constantly, when's that coming? When's that coming? It's usually from him. So yeah, brilliant. Oliver showed just a moment ago the operator screen. For anyone who doesn't know, that you can import your work orders into FourJaw already. And so once you've managed to do that in FourJaw, previously it's already there, but the feedback that we were getting was it was a little bit of a hurdle to get work from whatever system it is that you're already using, perhaps your ERP system, or a lot of the time we see people using spreadsheets, like very, very complicated spreadsheets to manage work orders.
Yeah, I mean, it always surprises me, you know, no matter how mature a customer is, how big of a corporation they are, the number of ways that people manage their work orders and get them to shop floor is crazy.
Do you know what we see a lot?
It's the way it is.
Most manufacturers think that all their competitors are way more advanced than them.
Yeah.
Don't they?
That's fair.
That's quite common, isn't it? Like, oh yeah, we're not very advanced, and you look, you go, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, what we were seeing a lot was obviously a lot of people using spreadsheets, a lot of people already using CSVs, or you've got access to those in your ERP systems. And you can currently import that into FourJaw. But what we're doing here in the summer release is just evolving on that, really. And I'll give you a quick demo of how that's going to work. So this is a prototype. As we said, it's not yet released. So this isn't live in the system.
Is it going to work?
The prototype, hopefully. So if you've just dropped into FourJaw and you don't yet use work orders, you're going to be welcomed onto this screen. And then you can very swiftly and easily just import a CSV. So the real goal here is to make it easy for your team leaders or your planners to get the work orders into FourJaw, but then also get the right work orders in front of the operators. So it should be as simple as download your CSV, choose the file, map the headers, and then this is a little bit of an interesting evolution, because this isn't something that you could previously do in FourJaw, is map your own CSV headers and see your own data, how you needed to bring it into the FourJaw system. So if you have, jobs and operations, but in FourJaw, we refer to that as a work order reference number. You can just map that quite simply yourself with hopefully a little help. And you've got all of the columns that you need to. We've also built in these features to allow you to not import some information if that's what you need. We recognize, obviously, and through speaking with a lot of our customers, we know there's a lot of data in your systems that you don't want to bring into FourJaw, and we want to respect, obviously, security and privacy there. So just click Don't Import, and you can get that straight into FourJaw.
So this data mapping.
Yeah.
Tell me, Steph. How many times do you have to do that?
Is this a planned question?
I was so preempting the question. I nearly already said it. No, you don't have to keep mapping every time. It's a one-off. You do it once, and it will work every time you then go to import your CSV. It also remembers changes. So if you were to say make a change in the afternoon, and I come back the next morning to import my next CSV, it's going to remember that you've made that change because it assumes that we're all bringing the CSV in from the same place.
Yeah, which I think is fair. And is CSV import the only way that you can bring your job or your work to
None of
data?
these questions were planned. None of these questions.
Are there any other ways that you can bring your work order information into FourJaw?
Correct. Yes, you can also bring in CSVs via API import now, which I know a lot of people have been asking for a long time. So this is all built API first, as is manual part count. You can get your part count information out by API. You can get your work orders in by API.
Yeah. I feel that's it's quite a hot topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we're finding that more and more customers are aware of I guess what an API is. A lot of people are wanting to use, basically a connection into FourJaw to take data and do something more with it. And it's going to end up going two ways, but it's quite a hot topic, isn't it? It's talked about by a lot more customers. The more time goes on, the more it comes up, and I think it's super powerful for us to start leaning on that and helping customers do a bit more beyond what we provide them today.
Just removes the manual step from it, from the CSV import. It's just it removes that step completely.
So we will be releasing some technical documentation along with the summer release to help IT teams, or if you're a technologically advanced team leader, then we'll supply you with some technical documentation to be able to do that. So you brought your
data's in.
So you brought your CSV in. You no longer have to worry about machine name mapping. You can handle that now in FourJaw as well. That was previously a bit of a sticking point that we've come up against with some organizations, of having different machine names in different systems. So we've accounted for that in this latest release of work orders. But one thing we've also accounted for is we want you to be able to act on your work orders, right, if they're falling behind. And that includes tracking the operations that maybe happen on a machine that isn't in FourJaw. So we've given you the ability to be able to bring those in as well, so you can see where all of your operations are, regardless of machine or when it was started. So the idea of the work order management screen is that you've got this visibility of what's happening on your shop floor on each of your machines. You can see how many operations have been are in progress or are done, and you can see how much time you have running against each operation or work order versus what you expected to be running at. So that's giving you the visibility that you need. But as we said, we're talking about action. We want to help people do more. And one of the biggest hurdles and I guess wastages in time that we've got back from team leaders is when operators don't know what to work on next. So they might go onto the tablet. It's not easy for them to see which operation they should be working on next. So what we've built into the new version is this ability to very quickly adjust your machine that you've got assigned for each operator, for each operation. And you'll be able to do things like change schedule start times and scheduled start dates. So if a priority order comes in and you need to make an adjustment, you'll be able to then adjust those work orders in FourJaw, meaning that on the tablet, you're then able to see that adjustment. So we've talked a little bit about work orders. Anything you want to cover on work orders management before we move on?
No, I actually think it's a really good point you're making about, being able to flexibly change what's done and when. I think so many manufacturers, they can plan all they like. I'm sure you guys are thinking the same. You can plan all you like, but rarely does it go to plan.
Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's a bit like that. I imagine constantly for a lot of manufacturers being punched in the face.
Is that a saying?
Mike Tyson. You don't know that one. That's the Mike Tyson one, that.
Do you want to try it? Yeah, but I think we just heard that. We've heard that for years. It's that constant changing environment. It's all well and good planning, but I need to change this and change that. And I think just what we've managed to build here with the engineering team and Steph's insight from that beginning is yeah, it's brilliant. And I hope that you guys watching this and our new customers sort of, can really take to this and make the most of it, really help their teams get the most out of the machines that you've got, because now is the time to do that.
I think it's worth pointing out as well that this workbooking platform that we're launching in the summer release is the foundation of a lot of what's to come.
Yeah.
Because being able to actually understand how long each operation took you, how much time did you actually spend on that works order, it leads into, did you actually make any money on that job?
Yeah.
And so this is sort of very much we're building and building and building.
Yeah.
And this is a key part of that.
Yeah, and I think the visibility aspect that we've said, having that visibility of what's happening for each operation, but then tying all of these things together, making sure that, that a particular operation is in progress, but how far along on your part count are you, for example? So we're starting to tie all of this together. And to kind of carry on from Oliver's manual part count demonstration, soon in the soon summer, I'm just going to say hopefully soon, we will be definitely soon.
What date?
We will be evolving the part count and production quantities counting reports to be more suitable for manufacturers who possibly are creating at a much faster speed. So manually counting isn't something that they could realistically do. This is a big piece of feedback that's come back from releasing the manual.
Manually counting 6,000 parts might be a bit difficult.
Yeah, exactly. So we do actually have out in the wild some test sensors. In fact, well, it's live sensor now. I think it is live counting, automatically counting a machine.
That's a well-known kitchen manufacturer.
At a well-known manufacturer, and it's there, it's running, and it is bringing in automatic counting into the system. So great work from our engineering team on getting that hardware evolved. And what that's going to look like in the platform and how you're going to interact with that is realistically not that different to if you're already working with manual part count. What we've done is hooked the manual part count in to work in an automatic way. So as Oliver mentioned before, if you're already, am I sharing my screen? Yeah, bro, thanks. So if you're already using the manual part count reports and counter on the tablets, you may be using that in conjunction with workbooking. And if you are, what's going to happen when so let's say your operator comes onto shift, he jobs on to the work order that's there for him to start. And if that machine then starts running and that sensor senses a part coming past it, the tablet's going to automatically start that production quantity count. So no operator has to interact with the tablet. It's going to bring in your work order information because you've already jobbed onto it. And then as parts come through and as that sensor picks up each count, it's going to create that log for you. And we're going to see those logs keep coming in without any interaction from your operator. So it's manually, automatically picking up those logs and adding them into the tablet for you.
What I feel like is really cool here is that you can actually, if there's been something happen, if you've got the chance to identify that something is scrap at the machine point, being able to have a human go in and actually manually change something is still possible. Very much in the same way that manual part count is. You can have that automatic count there, but as soon as you need to modify something or count a scrap, it's a click away
in combination.
Yeah, absolutely. So I
think it's a brilliant solution because not many people have that chance to do both those together.
Oh,
it's really cool.
So yeah, we've definitely developed this to work in conjunction with manual part count, and hopefully in a way that anyone who's using the manual system can still benefit from this. Because what this release will bring with it is, this is something that's been requested again with the release of production quantity reports, is to have those production quantity widgets available on dashboards.
Yeah. All new widgets
for production quantities. So we'll be updating the live machine widget so that you've got that view of where your count is at versus your target. So if you want to quickly see what's going on your shop floor, I can see machine 9. I use lots of dummy data in my prototypes. So machine 9 is in a tool change and it's halfway through, well, a third of the way through the production count that it's supposed to be at. We'll also be releasing ways for you to set those targets on your machines. So this machine should be creating X amount of parts or X amount of whatever per time range, hour, minute. And then you'll be able to track that on a production quantity trend on your dashboards. So these are coming in the summer release.
Cool. Thank you very much, Steph.
No worries.
So there you have it. So we've got a load of stuff that has come. We've got a load of stuff that is coming. Hopefully it's really exciting for everyone. Have you got the slides?
Yeah.
So just wanted to quickly recap once Oliver gets his screen in order.
Yeah.
Quick recap of what we've released in spring and what is coming in summer.
Yes.
Slick.
On the fly, ain't you?
It's just not working. Keyboard's unplugged.
So very quick recap. So obviously we've launched production planning, and it really flexible, configurable. To change with what it is that goes on every day. Like we say, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. And then there's obviously the manual part count, which is great. And then what's coming in the summer release in the next sort of few weeks, is the works order management and obviously the production count advancements. And when we say what's coming in the next few weeks, we're a little bit vague on timescales because we launch things as soon as they're ready. Yeah, we want to get them out to you as quickly as we can, obviously, but we need to make sure that that they're right. And so these things that Steph's shown you, even though she's shown you, the mock-ups and everything, doesn't mean that they're quite ready yet. So our engineering team are racing towards getting these done as quickly as they can. And as soon as they're ready to launch them, they'll appear in FourJaw. And
I think any of the customers who I've spoken to quite in depth with some research will know that I get stuff out to them as soon as physically possible most of the time. We do run betas and we run research sessions with a lot of our organizations to make sure that we're pulling in the right feedback into the product for sure. And there's going to be more on that as well later in the year. I'm opening up more avenues and more ways for people to get their feedback back into FourJaw.
Cool. Okay. Anything else from anyone?
No. Do we have any questions?
Nothing of me, nothing. Nothing that
I meant from the viewers, not from you.
Yeah. If anyone's got any questions that they want, following up on, if you've got questions for your team here at FourJaw, if and you deal with your existing customer and you deal with customer success, then feel free to reach out to them, ask them, if you can get using some of which you've seen here and you're not using it. If you're super excited about these, let us know and they'll make sure they prioritize you as soon as things are available. I think it's fair to say. For anyone that's not a customer and you're watching this back or you're watching this live, please do get in touch with us. If you know someone here already, then reach out. If not, you can reach us at sales@fourjaw.com. And it'd be awesome to just get your views on this and show your team, if you need people to see it, if you need to get people on board with getting some of this data to help you with your decisions and improving your productivity, then we're all here for it. It makes sense to at least have the chat and work out whether we can help you. So please do get in touch and all the questions are welcome.
Cool. Well, we said we were going to be 45 minutes. We're on about 40 minutes now. So all good.
Sit here in silence for 5 minutes, I think.
Look forward to seeing everyone at the next one, which will be sometime in the next quarter. So thanks a lot for your time, and we'll speak soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.